Hello fellow YouTube viewers, and welcome to my brand new Let's Play on Europa Universalis Rome. Now, I bought this game on Steam a couple years back, and I bought the gold version of the game. It comes with the original game along with the Vae Victus Expansion pack. It's overall a great game for its price. It's created by Paradox Interactive, and if you're a fan of Paradox games, then you'll probably be a fan of this game as well. It runs on the Europa Universalis engine. So let's go ahead and start a game here and show you what it looks like. Now, it basically encompasses the ancient world, or what was known as the world at the time, as far as the Romans were concerned. And we have several campaigns that we can choose from. We're going to be starting at the beginning, and we're going to be playing as Rome. Now, in future Let's Plays, if I continue to make more Let's Plays of this game, I might be playing as one of the other factions. Maybe Carthage, Egypt, or the Seleucids, or even one of the small Greek city-state empires, or up in the north as one of the Celts. So, we'll see. But for now, we're going to be Romans. Let's go ahead and start the game. That's some nice art right there. Okay. So, when you start the game, before I even unpause the game, I like to take care of all the business at home. There's a lot of stuff you guys want to set up before you even unpause the game. But let me go over a short little history lesson of this time period and why you start the game as Rome at war with two factions. Rome starts at war with Magna Graecia to its south, which is several Greek city-states clinging on to the southern part of Italy, and they're allied with Epirus, another Greek state, a very strong king who was a military genius at the time. Now, the Pyrrhic War was a confrontation between all these powers, but the king over here, Pyrrhus, the term Pyrrhic victory comes from this king himself. Basically, Pyrrhus would win battle after battle against the Romans. He was outnumbered, but he would inflict more damage upon the Romans, killing more men, but he would lose so many men in the process that he would win the battles but lose the war. So, losing the war and winning the battles but losing the war became known as Pyrrhic victories. Now, Rome basically had just finished consolidating its power in central Italy. At the time, it only owned these provinces, and it was fighting against the Samnites. They fought 3 consecutive wars against the Samnites, basically over Campania, and later conquering Samnia itself. The thing with this war was, Campania was a separate city-state. It requested the aid of Rome. Rome came at its behest and defeated the Samnites. After they defeated the Samnites, the Latin League to the north decided it was a good time to declare their independence and secede from Rome, so then Rome started a Latin Wars to the north. After they were done fighting the Latin League and defeating them and reincorporating them back into Rome, Rome went back to the south and fought 2 more consecutive wars against Samnium, incorporating them into Rome. So basically, that was Rome consolidating power in central Italy, and now we consolidate power in the south. So that's where we're at right now. Rome is a burgeoning great power. This is the young Rome. This isn't that all-encompassing European Rome that we know in our textbooks. This is when Rome was small. Later on, Rome will own all of this. It will be truly an ancient power. But for now, we have to create that. But first, before you create a great power, you need to know how to play the game. So, over here is Nation Overview. Rome starts off as a military republic. It gives these bonuses. Rulers reign for 2 years. They can be re-elected if they've previously reigned before after 10 years. So 10 years later they can run as consul and become leader of Rome again. We also get 2 military ideas to choose from and 1 civic idea to choose from. And the benefit of being a military republic is our war exhaustion goes down faster under a military republic. So let's go ahead and choose some national ideas. The first military idea we'll choose is professional soldiers, heavy infantry discipline plus 10%. Rome was renowned for its great soldiers, so we're going to have those great soldiers. The only other one that we can choose from is Horselords. There's many other here. If you want, you can pause and read these. But for now, based off of our technology, we can only choose Horselords. We don't have any horses, though. That's a problem. We'll have to get horses in the future. And then civic ideas. We have two civic choices. Civic duty gives us plus 50% defense bonuses. Citizenship means that the freemen in our country can become citizens at a 7% increase rate. I'm going to choose civic duty mainly because I like to have as many freemen as possible. Why? Because freemen contribute to your national manpower. So the more freemen you have in your country, the more manpower you have to fuel your legions. And we can make large legions to expand aggressively. That's going to be important. Now, speaking of citizens, let me introduce to you the slaves, the freemen, and the citizens. Slaves are the economy in this game. The more slaves you have, the more taxation you're able to bring in to Rome. So the more slaves, the more income. Freemen, manpower. Citizens, research. The more citizens you have, the more research you have. Now another dynamic that's interesting is slaves become freemen over time. Freemen become citizens over time. So even if we're going around enslaving all the other barbarian races in the world, those slaves will later become freemen, and those freemen will later become Romans. So that's important. There's another one over here called Barbarians. Basically, all of these provinces out here have a barbarian power number. The higher that number, the higher chance that a barbarian horde will rise. And if you're familiar with Roman history, barbarians and Romans fought quite often. In fact, barbarians actually meant those who are not Roman. So there you go. Alright, so as Rome expands, we get more slaves, we get more freemen, we continue growing Rome as a nation. Very fun. Okay, off to the economy here. We have taxation, we have trade. We get trade through setting up trade routes between provinces. I'll go over that at the end of the Let's Play. We also have tributes. Tributes, we get tribute from Massilia right now. We're allied with them, but also they pay us tribute. So, kind of like Campania, like that little history lesson I gave you guys. Campania was an ally with Rome and later incorporated into Rome. Massilia is allied with Rome and paying tribute to us, and probably, yes, later we will incorporate them into Rome. Voluntarily or aggressively. They will become Roman. Over here is diplomacy. As you can see, most countries in this world do not like Rome. Rome and other countries do not get along. So, that's not something I'm going to be worrying about. We're going to be fighting people all the time. So expect a lot of combat in this Let's Play series. Religion. Now, this religion tab here is very interesting to me because it's pretty dynamic. You have a lot of different religions in the world. Here's the relative power. You see Judaism has a very high power. There's only one province that practices Judaism. I believe it's this one here. Here it is, Judaism. Now the power of a religion increases its success chance when invoking omens. So it's important to have a high power. As you can see, Rome has its own religion right now, and we're in the middle of the spectrum. So we have a way to go. But right now the chance is only 39.3%, and it's impacted by those values there, but we can increase the base value by 10%. And to do that, we go over here to government, and we have several laws that we can pass here, I believe. No, we do not. Well, later on, when we have a specific leader, let's see here, there's a law that we can pass. Here it is. The Lex Alia et Fufia. The ruler has to be a member of the religious faction. Okay. And we have to have a stability of at least 1. Okay. So if I come over here to religion and sacrifice to the gods, that's going to cost us 40 gold. Let's go ahead and do that. And then we come over here to government. Now we can pass that, I believe. Yes. Lose 1 stability, but our Omen power will be decreased overall by 10%, but the success chance will be increased by 10%. That's going to be excellent. So basically, we come over here to religion. Now we almost have a 50-50 chance of successfully invoking. And it's important to invoke omens in this game. I'm going to show you why right now. Alright, so you come over here to government. This is the Roman Senate, and it's split up into 5 different factions: the military, mercantile, religious, civic, and populist factions. Populists are basically your rabble-rousers in the Senate. You want to keep the populist population in the Senate as low as possible, because they are the bane of the Roman society. They are the downfall of Rome in the end. Rome fell apart because the populace took control. And populist members have a lot of negative traits. So you want to keep populist factions small, and you want to keep these factions strong. So, one of the reasons why you want to invoke omens is, if you look at the bottom, it says populist faction currently has a 57% political attraction. That means a lot of Romans are going to be turning populist soon if we don't do something about it. They gain 30% just from having no trade routes, so we need to get our trade up. And another 15% because no omen has been invoked. So if we're not invoking omens, regardless of the negative outcome of whether it fails or not, populists are going to be growing in the Senate. That's very bad. So we're going to go ahead and invoke an omen. Because we're at war, we're going to try to invoke the omen of the blessing of Mars, which will give us morale to our armies and our navy. So cross your fingers. Here we go. It succeeded. Excellent. So now our armies have received the blessing of Mars, and as you can see, the morale bar over here, the green and the red, show that we have a maximum morale of 3.2. That's excellent. That's going to help us hold the line, okay, and win battles. Very important. And since we're here, we're looking at the 1st Legion. They have 19,000 heavy infantry and 7,000 archers, but they currently have no leader. So let's appoint a leader. As you can see, Gaius Fabricius Licinius wants to become a legate. That's his objective in life right now, is to lead an army. So by appointing him, he's going to complete one of his objectives, become more loyal, and he's an excellent military commander. His martial skill here, 7. This is charisma, finesse, popularity, loyalty, corruptness, and prominence. I will go over all of these values in this episode or future episodes. Alright, so let's go ahead and appoint the new legate to the 1st Legion. He's basically the Legionnaire. He's the general. Alright, so he'll be leading those armies. We're not going to start the war just yet because we have lots more to do. Alright. Now, let's come over here to military. Under the military tab, it's very basic. We have army maintenance. We're currently maintaining our armies at 100%, so they will fight at maximum morale. And same with our navies. Here's our 1st Legion with the leader, the size, their location, and their current morale. Here's our navy. They have no leader right now. Their size, location, and morale. Okay. That's important for later, because sometimes you might not want to have army maintenance at maximum because we're at a time of peace. You can save yourself some money that way. Alright, technology. Technology is very interesting. This is going to be a key role. You need to pay close attention to this part of the tutorial. We have 5 people. Each one of these guys currently holds a title. Army Quaestor, Navy, Aedile. Aedile actually means temple building, so he would be the architect at the time. Praetor, and Pontifex Maximus, basically your religious chief of state. Here's the Praetor, the magistrate in charge of civics. magistrate in charge of navy finances and army, and then construction. Okay, so the stats of these men, as you can see, impact the gain. So per point of charisma, so you want to have high charismatic leaders as Pontifex Maximuses, high charismatic leaders for praetors, same with aediles, and then you want to have charisma and martial for both of these up here. So when appointing your men, that'll impact the rate at which you learn these new technologies. And when you learn these new technologies, you get new units, new buildings, all sorts of other stuff opens up for gameplay in this game. It's awesome. So currently we're only gaining 59 research points, and our research depends on how many citizens we have as a whole in our country. There's our research point gain up there. Okay, so that was research and technology. We'll go over that more in depth later when we're reappointing new men. Right now we can't appoint anybody new, but we'll go over that. Okay, the Dynasty. The Dynasty is basically shows you who's currently in charge. The current consul, the leader of Rome right now, is Lucius Aemilius Barbula, and he's part of the military faction. Now he can join the mercantile faction later in life, or the civic, or even become a populist, etc. So right now he's part of the military faction. And I'll go over why Roman citizens might change the faction that they want to belong to. It's really a tug and pull in the Senate. There's a lot of dynamics going on in this game, and if you don't pay attention to them, you might find that Rome is in a state of civil war, and you don't want civil war. It's a pain in the butt, trust me. So we're going to do our best in this Let's Play to not have civil wars, but if they pop up, hey, it's a learning experience. Alright, so here's government. Now, back at the government tab, we currently have not appointed any censors. Basically, a censor will give those beneficiary results when you appoint them. So we want somebody with high charisma and high finesse. So let's go ahead and choose 2 censors. We'll just go ahead and check the list. Does anybody want to be a censor? No. Now censors, the available Romans that can be censors must have been a consul before they become censors. Censors are basically advisors to the leader of Rome. So they are former consuls. As you can see, each of these men are former consuls, former leaders of Rome. Alright, so nobody wants to be one, but we need some. So we're going to appoint Quintus Aemilius Pappus, and we shall also appoint, I'm looking at their finesse and their charisma here, Gaius Junius Bubulcus. Gotta love Roman names, they're fun. Alright, so now both those men are going to be censors. They will hold that office till the 1st of January 476. So they hold the office for 2 years. Okay. Now, we're almost done. We're almost there. Now, this is important as well. If you want to keep your Roman senators happy, then you need to ensure that their objectives that they're trying to achieve in life become a reality. Now, if you don't, you're going to have a lot of populists on your hands. And you don't want a lot of populists. This man right here, for example, if you look down here, it says faction, populist faction 11. That means he has 11 points into the populist faction. Now we don't know how many points he has in the military, civic, religious, or mercantile. But if we increase the faction points of any of those other 4 over the populist faction, then he will convert from populist to military or mercantile, etc. And the way you do that is to point or have them achieve objectives in life. And he wants to become a pontifex. So we'll give him the title of pontifex, and hopefully that will stop him from being a ridiculous populace. Alright, now all these men want to become aedile. Now we only have 2 aedile titles to give away, so we need to pick and choose. Now, I'm going to be doing this based off of loyalty. His current loyalty is 20%, which is horrible. So if we give him aedile, he will become 40% more loyal instantly, along with the 5% from appointing him as Aedile. So he will also lose a lot of other negative traits based off of him not getting his objective. When they don't get their objective, you can see he wants a title. Negative 0.1% every month. So slowly over time, he's losing loyalty to the Roman Empire. We can't have that. We cannot have that. Alright, the next man here, let's see, this man right here, he will also become Aedile. And we'll go down this list really quick. He wants to become Army Quaestor. He wants to be Dux of Magna Graecia. We already have a Dux, but later on they might want to become Dux, and we'll be appointing new Duxes. Let's see here. He wants to become a Plebeian Aedile, so we're all out of those though. Okay. All these men want to become Pontifex Maximus. He wants to become Praetor. Alright, so these men want to become Tribune of the Soldiers. So we'll appoint this man as Tribune of the Soldiers, and this man as Tribune of the Soldiers, and I think we have one more, so we'll give this man Tribune of the Soldiers. Oh, we have one more. So I think we had 4 of those titles, and we gave all 4 of those away. All of these men want to get married, and all of these men want to have sons. Now, this is important. Prominence determines how likely a character is to become married and have children. So all these men want to become married, but all of them have like 0% prominence, so none of them they're going to have a 0% chance of ever getting married. So we can increase that, though, by giving them some titles, such as Pontifex. Let's see here. We'll give him Augur. We will give him Tribune of the Treasury. So go down the list, and each of these will increase their prominence by about 5%, which should help them become married. Now, having sons, that's out of our hands. There's nothing that we can do to help that. So it's all up to them. You know, they got to procreate on their own. Alright, so that is basically a really short tutorial on how to keep your Roman senators in line and how to rule. Because all of these men, you're dealing with, let's see, 100 men, 100 people in the Senate, 100 different characters, each going on their own different tangents. But if we do our best, we can keep the populist faction out of control of Rome. When the populists become in control of Rome, the revolt risks go up, and the trade goes down, and everything goes to shit. So we want to stop that from happening. And then finally, we're going to set up trade routes. Now, before you even unpause the game, this is why you don't want to unpause the game until you take care of all this stuff and then the trade routes. And then you can play. Play at your heart's desire. Because if you don't do this, then all these trade routes will have been used up, and it's very difficult to find stable trade routes later. Alright, so first, let's go over to Sinai. Sinai is trading papyrus. We want to trade Rome and Sinai for papyrus. That 25% research bonus that papyrus is going to give us, and the high amounts of citizens that we have in Rome, will equal a very large increase to our research, which is going to be great. There's a lot of strategy involved to trading. Now, over here we have Etruria. They have iron. Iron allows us to build heavy infantry units here. We can't build them anywhere else unless they have the resource iron available. But Etruria has it as a base resource. So, if we trade Etruria with Thapsus, Thapsus has salt. Salt decreases the time it takes to recruit a new regiment. So we can increase the rate at which we can recruit heavy infantry. So I like to trade iron for salt. So let's try to do that. Etruria with them. Hopefully that trade route opens up. Now another cool thing is wood. Wood allows you to build Wood allows you to build triremes, which are the naval ships of this day and age. They had the oars sticking out the side and the rowers, and they would row, and they're largely coastal ships. Very useful in the Mediterranean. And archers. Archers are a great support unit. Basically allows two ranks to attack. The front line infantry and the rear line archer echelons can fire up and over. It's great. So you should have archers with your armies. Alright. So, we have wood here. Over here, Samnium has cloth. This increases the rate at which naval ships can be built. So if we trade Lucania with somewhere that sells cloth, trades cloth like Tingis, but we already traded with the Carthaginians. Let's see. Here. We have a diplomat en route, so that's an Egyptian territory. Well, what we can do then is just trade Samnium with Lucania, and instantly we get a trade route opened because these are two Roman provinces, so it's instant. So now they'll both get the boosts. They can both build ships and at an increased rate. Now, one more thing. Rome is very large, so we want to secure grain. So we'll trade for grain there. And let's see, one more thing. Horses. Over here is Macedonia. Macedonia has horses. If we can trade horses, possibly we can start building cavalry. It's very difficult to get horses in this game through trade, but if possible, it opens up all types of options available. Horses in this game allow you to recruit cavalry. Cavalry flank your enemies in battles and do a lot of charge damage. They're great to have in your armies. They're the perfect complement to infantry and archers. Okay, so now Etruria, here's Picenum. We can trade for iron. Over here in Dalmatia, they have iron and Picenum. Okay, so hopefully that trade route opens up as well. So I didn't fill out all the trade routes. I'm going to end it right here. The reason I didn't fill them all out is because some of them are going to fail. Maybe all of them will fail. We don't know. So hopefully some of them go through, and then we can pick and choose as the months go on, filling up our trade routes. Now the benefit of trading with other countries is because you can trade at longer distances, and when you trade at longer distances you make more income. So our trade income will go up by a large amount. And right now our balance is only 1.93, but with these trade routes it might equal our taxation. So we can almost double the amount of wealth we can generate in our empire if we get strong trade routes set up. Alright, so that's it for now. In the next Let's Play, we will begin the war against Magna Graecia and Epirus, and hopefully defeat our enemies and secure the southern peninsula of Rome. Thank you, and join me next time.